And good afternoon, everybody. This is our shed. It's time for the show. Let's be reasonable, people. I know I haven't done a video in probably about a month and a half, but guess what, folks? Life gets in the way. The month of April and May have been busy, but it's time to start getting back into the show and time to start, building an audience for what it is that we have to discuss. And I guess you would say I'm more interested in the economics on a lot of issues. I'm really gotta tell you, I I can watch MSNBC. I can watch. I can't. You know what? Two networks I can't watch. I can't watch CNN and I can't watch Fox. Just something about those two networks that just totally just annoys me. Right? I can watch News Nation and I can watch MSNBC. Now I know MSNBC has a lot of bent toward the left, right? But all of them bend one way or the other. So, but I can tend to parse the information a little bit better from News Nation and from MSNBC. Everything else I look at, and I'm just throwing my hands up and saying, "Wow, just give me a break. Give me a break. All the vitriol and all the rest of it." But anyway, so today we're talking about this article in the New York Times. Biden hits Chinese electric vehicles, chips, and other goods with higher tariffs. And in a nutshell, this article written by Mr. Tankersley just tells us that the Americans are ready to pass off tariffs on steel, semiconductors, electric cars, lithium, EV batteries, all the advanced batteries in that space. Electric cars received a 100% tariff. They went from 25% to 100%. Semiconductors went from 25% to 50%. The aluminum steel went from 7.5 to 25%, right? The lithium ion EV battery went from 7.5 to 25%. So electric cars up 100%. The next thing that's impacted at a great deal will be semiconductors. And remember, the U.S. is trying to build out its semiconductor space here at home. That's why they're building these facilities in Arizona and also in Ohio and other places around the country. So there's a big push to dethrone the Chinese from the advanced battery and semiconductor space. So, I'm here to tell you that all this started under the Trump administration. I think Trump's tariffs 60% across the board was a bad idea because not only does it affect, let's say, technology, a sector, it affects multiple sectors, right? And the response from the Chinese was to impact the U.S. companies even greater by affecting packaging and the rest. So there's a lot that comes with tariffs. Look, tariffs, as one Milton Friedman would say during the late 60s, early 70s, tariffs are a tax. There were people who sat in the Federal Reserve's chairman spot, guys like Paul Volcker and Alan Greenspan and Ben Bernanke and others who would echo the notion that tariffs are a tax. And it pretty much coupled the environment of supply side economics, right? So with supply side economics comes the notion of free trade. The thought is that if we drop tariffs, then they will drop tariffs. Well, the problem here with the Chinese is that they're not, or I shouldn't say not, but they just haven't been a player that was willing to play by the rules. I mean, the Chinese is vested in stealing U.S. technology. In fact, battery technology is one of those areas that is stolen U.S. technology, especially when you think about the Redux battery. And there's an interesting story. Maybe I'll tell you. I think I've said that on a couple of videos. I want to tell that story about that Palladium Redux battery. Because it tells you that we could have had a lead in that particular space, but we couldn't get U.S. companies on board to produce the advanced batteries. And of course, the way it reads to me, it was pretty much tabled by industries like oil and gas and the rest of them, right? So, uh, all of these, I guess you would say, combustion engine type companies that deal in that particular space had a vested interest in keeping themselves fed, and they didn't want to see the competition of the EV. So, because of all that, you might say the Chinese pretty much own the EV space, right? And if you look at the EV space over in Europe, I mean, you see a lot of Chinese EVs running around over there. You don't see it so much here in the United States. I think you do see it in places like California. But, I mean, the numbers, actually, I think there was a story about 10 days ago. Something, they were ready to roll out more vehicles to the United States. So, and of course, that would impact the big three, Stellantis, GM, and Ford, in their pursuit of their EVs, right? So, all that being the case, I mean, Trump talked about slapping tariffs on the Chinese and did 60% across the board. It looks like the Biden administration is slapping tariffs in a particular sector in the tech area. They say it's about $18 billion. Guess that's a little bit more targeted than I think it was 270 billion that the Trump administration targeted. So different target apparatus, maybe a little bit better. I don't know. I do still say in this particular environment, unless we're ultimately saying that the environment's changing and we need to start using tariffs, or I guess in a sense, that's what the Trump administration was saying, in order to get the Chinese to yield, to get them from, keep them from stealing U.S. technology. They're not going to stop, in my estimation. We don't have a stick to compel them to stop. So the only way to beat them is to, you might say, beat them at their own game, or choke off their ability to sell their product. And it appears to be the latter that the United States is willing to engage in. So all that being said, folks, stay tuned. We'll see how this issue plays. I know how it will probably play politically. Trump will be upset about it because he's going to say that this is something that he was going to do, and he's mad that the Biden administration is doing it. Biden administration, look, Democrats, I've said this before, have never seen a tax that they didn't like. So they're going to celebrate the tariffs. Remember, tariffs are a tax. So we'll see exactly how this all plays out. But for my money, I just think that in the environment that we live in, tariffs are a tax, and it has a greater impact on us than it does on the other side. All right. So those are my 2 cents. That's my take on the story. Hope you enjoyed, and look forward to the next one. Have a good day.